Welcome to Laws Lessons, where I give my tips and takes on the games that we all love. Today we have the results of my testing for what Pokemon to use for the Cinderace Raids, and I will be listing them from worst pick to ultimately the best picks. We're going to start this off with the by far most disappointing pick that I tried, and that is Fluttermane. I thought it'd be able to do good damage since Cinderace has a low special defense, but Fluttermane actually got one hit by every attack Cinderace threw, and I was just not able to do any damage. Alas, Fluttermane is not the only Pokemon that did not perform as well as we thought it would. Next up, we have Ceruledge. Now, we thought Ceruledge would be in a pretty good position with its ghost typing and ability Flash Fire, but its ultimate downfall was the fact that Cinderace will just spam acrobatics instead, and even with Bitter Blade, Ceruledge could not stay alive long enough to do enough damage to take out Cinderace. Now, next up we have a couple supports that I thought their typing and their moves would be able to make them useful, but it just did not turn out that way. First up we have Skeledirge. When it came down to it, all Skeledirge really had going for him was the Will-O-Wisp, which is very useful to cut down on Cinderace's attack, but after that all he can do is Helping Hand, so you're way too dependent on your teammates. And my next support that I did actually enjoy using a little bit would be Clodsire. I'm not saying Clodsire's moves are much better than Skeledirge's, but he at least has Acid Spray, which was a lot more useful than I thought it would be. Especially when you have a lot of slow bros on the field that are gonna take multiple turns to set up anyway, and by the time they're set up, you can have Cinderace's special defense at -6 stages and have him ready just to take massive damage. Now, in this raid here, really does not show how useful I think Clodsire might be able to be with a little more coordination, but things just get out of hand way too quickly. And yes, even though he does not have super effective moves, I did try to use Annihilate. Now, Annihilate did end up doing a little better than some of these picks I tried, but ultimately, again, it was acrobatics that really was his downfall, and the damage from the Rage Fist just could not make up for it. Now, this next one I did not talk about in my previous video. I built it in between because I thought it would work a lot better than it did, but I did build a Slowpoke. And yes, during this raid it did become apparent to me very quickly that I should have evolved him because his stats are just not high enough to do what I was trying to do with him. He does manage to do some good damage, but it is just not enough, at least to solo it. And now we're getting into those Pokemon that very nearly worked, or I feel like they could work if you actually had a team that you were coordinating with. And the first one up is Veluza. I really wanted him to work, but he just cannot take a hit after using that Fillet Away. After several attempts, I was able to set up the Fillet Away and hit the Sword Power, and you can see it does do good damage, but it can be too risky and take too long to set up and just does not do enough damage. Now, this next one I've been hearing a lot of people like this pick, but it did not do it for me, and that's Espathra. I don't know if I just didn't build mine right or what was going on, but it just could not take a hit. I mean, it did do good damage, but it just got knocked out way too often. It put up a good attempt, but it just couldn't take the solo at least. But I just could not get it to work. I think I need to test it further, maybe with a different build. And next we do have a support that I have seen some people use, and I can see why. It's actually Gyarados. While yes, I do feel like Gyarados' support moves are limited, he does have Taunt, which is very important. And then after that, unfortunately, all he really has is Helping Hands. And as you can see, if you do not have good teammates, he's not very useful at all. But with that, now we're up to my top picks. And this first one might be a little bit of a surprise pick, but it's Qwilfish. While Qwilfish might not be the bulkiest Pokemon out there, the Acid Sprays do come in very handy. And then on top of that, you have Acupressure, which increases a random stat by 2 stages. And my plan for that was to use it on a Pokemon that's going to use stored power just to give it that little more oomph. So yes, my main target for that move would be these Slowpokes. I know that's exactly what they're doing. Now, Quillfish, I feel like he does pretty good by himself, but I feel like with team coordination, he can be a lot better, whether it's on purpose or not. As you can see here, we have the Azumarill lowering Cinderace's attack, while I lower his special defense, and even with an NPC in here with us, the Sylveon's able to hit that Hyper Beam and pretty much one-hit the Cinderace, which was absolutely beautiful. And then we have one of my favorite Pokemon of this generation, Darksbun. I'm really happy that Darksbun is working well for these raids because I wanted to use him for Charizard so bad. He just didn't work near as well as he needed to. Now, I really think Darksbun's usability pretty much comes down to the charm, because as we all know by now, Cinderace loves to buff his attack, and once that gets out of hand, the raid's pretty much over. Along with the fact that you really don't have to worry about Darksbun fainting. Between his high defense and the fact that any fire move increases his defense, you can focus on your teammates' health without really having to worry about your own. And now we're finally down to the best pick for Cinderace. I don't think anybody's shocked because we've all heard it by now. It's Slowpoke. I very much regretted this is the one Pokemon that was on my list, and I decided not to build it because it is the only one that I was able to solo Cinderace with. And you see it everywhere for a reason. After you start using the Iron defenses, he can take hits all day long. Once you fully get his defense and special attack buff, the stored power just does a stupid amount of damage. Now, I did try him with a couple different items. I tried him with Leftovers, Quick Claw, and Shell Bell. As much as I hated the extra wait time between moves that Leftovers causes, the Leftovers was the only one that I was able to actually solo Cinderace with. But with that, that is the full result of all of my testing. If you're looking for something a little different, I would highly suggest Quillfish. But other than that, if you want to support, use Darksbun, and if you want to do a lot of damage or you're limited on resources, definitely build a Slowpoke. That's the go-to. Let me know what your favorite Pokemon to use against Cinderace is in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Thank you for joining today's lesson. Until next time, bye!